All right, here we are today. We've been doing a lot of work with multiplying and tons of work with rational numbers. So now we're kind of at that last part where once we finish this up and we quiz out on it, then we'll get the calculators back and it'll make your life that much more pleasant. I promise, I promise, I promise. So the top of your notes right now, make sure you have your note sheet out, should say 2-5 or 02-05, and it's about dividing rational numbers. So today's learning target will actually be I can, and it's pretty simple. Divide rational numbers. Now, keep in mind, rational numbers are all the regular numbers, whole numbers, and then we also include the integers, meaning we include negatives. And then by being rational, we expand upon that to include anything written as a decimal that's terminating or repeating, and any kind of fraction or mixed number. That encompasses everything, okay? Because every fraction can also be represented by a decimal that terminates or repeats. So we're going to divide rational numbers today. So first, this is probably the most painful part of maybe 5th grade, dividing using decimals. Do you remember how? This is where you have to watch that decimal point and make sure you've got things in the right spot. So I like to think of it in a little tune rap thing in 4 steps. Bump, slide, up, divide. See, that kind of rhymes. Bump, slide, up, divide. Bump, slide, up, divide. Okay, so here we go. This very first one that you have on your notes sheet reads this way, and it's horizontal, and I can't do it that way. Nope. So we're going to rewrite this good old-fashioned long division way, all right? 79 and 36/100. So you write this down again, and then say divided by, we're going to use the old-fashioned long division, and then 0.8 or 8/10, okay? So it is not easy to divide by things that are less than 1 or that have decimals in them. So what we do is we say, as long as we take and multiply by 10 in this case, we're moving that decimal point over one spot. We're going to bump it over one. Then we're going to do the same thing to the number inside underneath the division bar. Okay, so we bumped it here and slide it the same number of spots there. Put the decimal point up above, and now we can just divide. And now I just want you to think of this as plain old 8, just 8. Can 8 go into 7? Nope. Can 8 go into 79? Holy cow, yes. Make sure you put your 9 right above this 9, because see, there's still a 3 here that we have to deal with in just a moment. All right, 9 times 8 is 72, and when you subtract, you get a 7. And bring down the 3, and then you say, well, hallelujah, I just said that 9 times 8 is 72, and that will fit really nicely here. This time I only have 1 left. Don't worry that the decimal point is next, because that's in the right spot already up in the quotient. So bring the 6 down, and you say, oh, 8 can fit in there twice. Boom, I get exactly 16, and once you have 0 as a remainder, you're done. So this one works out exactly as 99 and 2/10. Done. Let's look at one other one. Okay, 2 and 16/100 divided by 4/100. Ooh. All right, rewrite this long division way. So 2.16, 2 and 16/100, divided by 0.04. 0.04. Okay, this looks gross with all these zeros and decimal points. So this time, let's take and move this decimal 2 spots to the right. That's the same as multiplying by 100. If I do it on this divisor out here, I have to do it to this one and be fair. So do the same thing, 1, 2 spots. Cross that out now and bring it on up. So I bump, slide, put it up, and now divide. Okay, it's helpful to me. Now I cross out the zeros because now it's plain old 4. Easy. 4 goes into 2. Nope, it does not. 4 goes into 21 5 times. That gives me 20. I subtract, and then I have a 1 and bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. I get exactly 16. Shazam, done. I don't even have any numbers that will go past the decimal point here. So you are perfectly fine if you just write 54. If you want to put the decimal point there for emphasis, go right ahead. All right, so that's the decimal part. That's all review, okay? I didn't throw anything in there with positive and negative signs, but watch for those as well. Now, what happens with fractions? Dividing fractions. Oh, do you remember how? Well, first, let me just go back and do a little preview here, okay? Instead of that, I just want you to think about this. If I said, what is 10 divided by 2? You'd say, well, 5, okay? All right. And then if I said, well, if I start with 10, what if I want to take half of 10? What's 10 times 1/2? You'd say, oh, well, we've been doing multiplying fractions for days as review, so I know I have to do it this way. And I'm going to simplify, and I get 5. Whoa. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 10 times 1/2 is 5. Is that a coincidence? It is not. Okay? Actually, we could do a ton of those, but as it turns out, that when you divide by a number, it is the same effect as if you change it to multiplying by the reciprocal. That should be a word that sounds familiar to you. Let's take a look here. What is the reciprocal? The reciprocal is a number. Okay. And it's kind of the inverse when you multiply. But what I'm going to say here for our purposes, it's a number, and you basically invert it, or in other words, you flip it upside down. Okay? And usually when you start, it helps if you write it as a fraction. And then the reciprocal is when you invert it or flip it upside down. The effect is that when you multiply a number and its reciprocal, you will always get exactly 1. So we call it that it's an inverse of when you multiply. Okay? Well, let's keep on pressing on. So I have something to tell you. You cannot, if you have younger brothers or sisters, you cannot tell them this because they can't handle the truth. Okay? Division, it doesn't exist. Just like subtraction. See, you're old enough and mature enough to handle the truth. Division doesn't exist. Division is really just multiplying by the reciprocal. Division is multiplying by the reciprocal, multiplying by the reciprocal. So just like before, now, especially when you have fractions, figure out what is the sign of my answer going to be. If you have two numbers and they have the same signs, your answer is positive. If you have different signs, negative. Then once you get that out of the way, then start your computation. Here's the deal though. You've got to have a fraction, and it has to be either a regular fraction or improper. No mixed numbers, no whole numbers. Make everything fractions, and then we're just going to change it to a multiplication problem, okay? Because dividing is multiplying by the reciprocal. And then you're just going to multiply as normal and go to town. It's that simple. Okay, so I got a bunch of examples. Let's get cracking. All right, this one says 5/8 divided by 3/4. Here's what you have to do first. You have to rewrite this as a multiplication problem. So instead of 5/8 divided by, we're going to say 5/8 times the reciprocal, 4/3. Okay, the same thing. Now, cakewalk. Here we go. Make one giant fraction. Look for any simplifying that you can do. And I say, well, hot diggity dog, I can factor a 4 out of my numerator and denominator. And now I will get 5 times 1 in the numerator and 2 times 3 in the denominator. It's already in simplest form. Mwah! Beautiful. Okay. Look at the next one. Oh, now, of course, see, that was kind of review. Now, of course, I got to make it a little trickier for you. Here we go. This time you have negative 7/10 divided by 2/5. So here's what I'm going to do first. What's the sign of my answer? Negative times positive. Rewrite this as a multiplication problem. Negative 7/10 stays the same. Change it to multiplying by the reciprocal. 5/2. Sweet. All right. I'm going to make my giant fraction. I'm going to see if there's anything whatsoever that I can simplify. Thankfully, 5 goes into 10 twice. And I end up with negative 7 times 1. So that's a negative 7. 2 times 2 is 4. All right. I brought the negative sign down, but up here, just so you know, it's already up there. So I'm going to have negative 7/4. Frankly, I'm okay leaving your answer as an improper fraction. If you want to write it as a mixed number, it would be negative 1 3/4. Next, here, this one. All right, you do this one, pause the video, and then start it up again and check and see how you did. Okay, stop. Change it to a multiplication problem. Now, I'm kind of keeping my negative signs there. I suppose, first of all, I could have just said negative is going to give me positive, and then I wouldn't even have to monkey with the signs here. All right, I change it to multiply by the reciprocal. This is a 1, this is a 3. Oh, 3/5. Done. Uh-oh, mixed number. It's okay, we've been doing this, okay? I look at this and I'm going to right away say this is positive, this is negative, my answer is negative. Now I'm not going to deal with the signs anymore. This is 8/9. Now hold on. I'm leaving it as divide because first I've got to get this as an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 2. This is 8/3. So this is the same as saying 8/9 divided by 8/3. Okay, I already took care of the sign up there, so stop freaking out. Now rewrite it as multiplication. 8/9 dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Shazam! Oh my stars, look at how beautiful this is going to simplify, because the 8 takes out this 8, divide to 1. I can divide a 3 out of here and a 3 out of here, and I end up with 1 times 1 in the numerator, 3 times 1 in the denominator. I come up here to make sure I didn't lose my sign. Boom! There you go. Nice. What if you just have a whole number? It's all right. Relax. This is negative. This is negative. A negative divided by a negative is positive. All right, now I'm done with the signs. This is like saying 3/4 divided by the fraction 9/1. Now, I haven't flipped anything. Hold your horses. First of all, I got to have improper fractions. Now, I can say dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And hot diggity dog, there is a factor of 3 in my numerator and denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 3 is 12. My answer is going to be positive 1/12. Sweet. Oh my gosh, this is just like multiplying from yesterday. Yeah, not that bad. Okay, negative times or divided by a positive. My signs are different. That means my answer is negative. The 5/6 is being divided by, make this an improper fraction. 5/3. Now, rewrite this as a multiplication problem. 5/6, instead of dividing by 5/3, we're going to write multiplied by 3/5. Oh, look at how nice this is. My numerator, this 5, can divide this 5. 3 is a factor of both 3 and 6. You end up with 1/2. Okay, 1 times 1 is 1. Excuse me. Don't forget your sign. That's a Speedy Sally moment right there. So simmer down, okay? All right, up in the front. You don't even have to look at Schoology. I've got a worksheet for you. And I made it with a lot of room because I want you to rewrite those equations as multiplication. Good luck. May the force be with you.